Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a bit more Stationeers. Now at the top, you can see there's no ladder here. Just very briefly, I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't harp on about it too much. I had to do a full refurb on my computer. Basically, I had to replace the motherboard. Anyone who's ever had to replace a motherboard knows that it's nightmarish if you have your entire livelihood on all the hard drives associated with it. Anyway, I had to reinstall Stationeers. Fortunately, I save slot everything differently and I cloud save everything. But for whatever reason, it hasn't retrieved my most recent save. But I had a separate save slot for the one before this. So, from what I can gather, we're set back 30 minutes. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world, especially since the outcry about ladders was vitriolic. People don't like ladders. Okay, cool. Saves me having to deconstruct them if I never built them in the first place. So just bear with me while we catch up. We also got a lot of feedback around clocks, and we'll probably have to investigate what we're going to do for the actual system. Now that's working fine. For the actual ice crunching system. Okay, so it is interesting. The clock thing I would really love to assess. I would just put down because you don't want a real life clock. 1 second doesn't count for anything here. What we want is a clock in this world's game time. It'll tick really fast, but that way you could actually predict the lunar cycle. We've also seen the solar panels, they track through the world. Now I know it's probably a bit exploity, right? But for whatever reason, the sensor feeds them data, and you can see them track when the sun's on. You can actually figure out where the sun is on the other side of the planet based on the facing of the panel, because they start retracking around the other side. So what I'm saying is that a sensor placed in the correct orientation will detect the sun's position even when it's on the other side of the world. So you won't have a limiting factor of, say, 0 to 180 degrees. Now, this is all just, theory. So I would think if you had a sensor and you just sent that straight to a digital output, I mean, granted, it will be in degrees. All you'd have to do is put it through a basic bit of math to convert it into a time, right? It'd be not that different from doing the divide by 1.8, a little bit more complicated. I mean, this is just my knee-jerk reaction at first. Let me know what you guys reckon, but I suspect that'd be the case. I mean, if for some reason that doesn't work, I guess alternately you could just have a clock that only works from sun up to sundown, because that's all that really matters. The only thing you wouldn't be able to tell by time is how far away the sunrise up is, but that should just work. I think it would work. Someone said I should build a centrifuge to put all these filters in. That's a bloody good idea. I probably should do exactly that. I'm going to interrogate this really quickly. So when we put ice in here, pretend this is, we're going to theory craft the crunching part, because that's something people are talking about and something that we need to work out. I can't see why we can't do a very similar system to this logic. I'll just do a refresher for those that maybe don't remember. But essentially we've got a system that is, this is the basic logic that runs our furnace system, right? And if you look in there, the vent's always on, always draining the room to vacuum. But what it's actually doing is it's comparing the in hole to the out hole, right? And the out hole should be empty, and so should the in-hole. Like, let's just say right now in a resting state, they're both giving, let's say, a 0 reading on a binary 1 or 0. As soon as I pull the switch and this feeds the ore into there, what my logic does, it says, it's basically an if condition if they're not equal, so it just compares the state. So once the ore goes into this hole, that becomes a 1 state and that becomes a 0 state. It compares them, and in that scenario, press the button. Why won't that work exactly the same on this furnace? I saw some people talking about using like an on-off state, a flick state, but I don't see why that wouldn't happen. We'll test it again at night time. I'll put some oxygen in there or something like that, but I'm pretty sure if I were to put a 5 stack of ore in there, right, and I have to press the button 5 times to crunch it each time. So why can't we just do a compare from that to anything? I mean, probably not this out thing. In this particular case, we could use a memory chip. we could put it on the same network. We could compare it to this out slot over here, right? But we could put a memory chip with a 0 state on it, right? And go compare this to the 0 memory chip. One chip and the compare, right? Exactly the same as that. And as long as this is reading 1, hit the button, right? Surely there's a cooldown on the activation of the button. It's not an on switch. It's a press once, right? So it's like a digital input, I suppose. So if you put a 50 stack in here, it's just going to constantly compare the 50 stack to 0, and it's just going to keep smashing this button until it hits 0, until it crunches the ice, because every time it hits the button. I can't see why that wouldn't work. Maybe some people that have already done it in practice know better, but I don't think they have. I'm pretty sure we're coming up with a little... I mean, unless people have been, playing along with me and giving this a go. But this idea of using this as a cruncher is a bit of an original idea, I think. I'm not saying I came up with it, but I don't think it's a widespread use for a furnace just to make it crunch ice into gas. So that would be my plan. Get a 0 memory chip or compare it to something that's perpetually empty. Put that in. When the states don't equal, crunch. It's identical to the furnace in concept. Now, instead of doing stairs, we'll put a ramp or something like that. Ramps seem to work just fine. I guess our little potato farm's going fine there as well. I guess that's the danger of potentially losing a bit of save data, is forgetting where you're... what did I do and what didn't I do, that sort of stuff. I know a lot of what we spent, to be perfectly honest, was constructing and filling in this room. So I do know at the very least we had it come to basically one floor, right? Managed to reposition everything. We turned that at right angles. So I still remember what we need to do and seal it in. But I guess as far as the sort of the logic thing, at least assuming that my logic's going to work, that's right, we started wiring all this in. So we might do a bit of theory crafting and just redesign. Again, apologies for the I've probably done hundreds of episodes of this game. This is one of the first times that we've ever really been set back seriously, other than a wipe. We'll just have to do a whole bunch of construction. But at least we do remember from last time that we could fit it in a 2x2x1 space, right? And yeah, I had the whole theory on how we're going to rig the gas canister up and that as well. Cool. So bear with me. We're still going. We're still working it out. It's all good. I might just essentially retread here and start pulling everything apart. Might do it like this. Yeah, so the clock thing is interesting. I mean, if we don't need a clock, why make one? But having said that, I'm sure later on there could be many... Well, I think a clock would be good for reference, give you an idea of what's going on. What you could... Maybe... Now, this might be what's interesting, is if you could do a clock that essentially outputs, your time of day statement. Alright? And then you create a converter to turn that into real-time timing, if you follow. So you could basically go, alright, it's, according to the cycle, it's like 3 PM or something like that, right? But then you could convert that into a relative timer to maybe, say, sundown or something like that. So you could say, in real-world minutes, this is how long we've got until the sun goes down, basically. Do we need this one there? I don't think we do. So that to me actually is interesting. Yeah, we need to seal under there, seal under here. That's good there. All right, so we're gonna need two more there. 2 more on the wall. Need 1 above there. That's it, that's 5. That sounds about right. I'm pretty sure we cooked up 5 last time. Okay, here we go. So, back to it. Hang on. Where is my steel? There we go. We'll make... No, we can't make it in here. Sheet. No. Frame. Steel frame. So does that cycle what we're doing? It does. Steel frame. So I do have to kind of supervise it. It's not like I can say do 5. I guess I could put the correct amount of resource in to throttle it. Yeah, that's something that we could do. Yeah. So the centrifuge, yeah, that's on the list of things to do. It's an interesting idea. Of course, to what end? You know what I mean. I'm not poo-pooing the idea of doing it, but it is an idealistic something for us to build. It's definitely not pressing. It's like wiring in. There used to be a bit of a meme on the channel, is wiring in these doors, right? Because I play at such a low power yield. This is the most dishes I've ever really played with. And people don't understand how much draw you get from wiring doors in. But I still remember a few series back, that was always the laugh from everyone in the comments. You'd have some random come in, bloody plug your doors in, it's driving me crazy. It's like, yeah, right, you drongo. You're just like the 7th bloke this week to say that. Oh, hang on, I've gone a bit low. Okay, yeah. So we'll do like, yay. Come on. And that'll give us our seal. Cool. The other thing is cable. We need to get on top of the cable situation, so we'll do that. I'm gonna test this real quick. Alright. What's this? Oxygen. Split. So let's say we take 3. Right? I take 3. And I put that in there. Bang. Right? I think it automatically crunches 1. So let's just go with that. There's 2 sitting in there now. And if I press the button once. Alright. It's gone basically off. It's not in an on-off permanent switch, it was just a press 1, and if I press it once more, it'll probably crunch the last piece and then the chute will open. 1. Maybe I need to press it again. There we go. Okay, so it didn't automatically crunch the first one. But do you see what I mean? Like, I think people might be overcomplicating it. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong, but just from the data the game's giving me, my empirical testing is that you can just keep pounding this button 50 times, and that's how you crunch a 50 thing. So, as long as it keeps doing the compare, it'll keep sending that signal. I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't automatically go into its own sort of infinite for loop. That's the only other thing. Like, maybe it just compares it once, presses the button once, but then finishes. But I'm not sure. I get the feeling that the logic would automatically loop back to the beginning, and I don't think you can make 4 functions in this, at least not with basic logic, or if else, whatever you want to call them, loops, right? That's taking me back. I guess we're gonna have to get around to doing this bloody IC programming at some point as well. Yeah. All right, hang on. So let's is that copper in the wall? It is. I'm gonna dig that out while I'm here. Yeah, we're all good. Just confusing me. myself. Alright. How much should we get out of that? 29. Not bad! Let's just cook all of that up. That is copper, isn't it? I get confused by the new... I gotta be honest, I don't like the new ore, right? It looks too real, too realistic. Like, let's put this on the ground. The aesthetic of that, next to all this cartoonized stuff, it doesn't look right. I mean, I could even argue these gold bars look a bit off. You know what I mean? Like, it should probably be a different color. I like the shape of that design, but that sort of grimy color texture just does not fit with this entire game world. I guess maybe the same could be said for the actual moon. I don't know. Maybe you want a division between what's naturally occurring and what's man-made. Oh, Jesus, okay. That dude's in a hurry. Alright, so that's cooking away. We'll pop this in the... That's scary, hey, how the particles come running out. Like, there's some sort of... They're not actually getting through, but we're getting the visual representation of the... Well, I guess that's more that it represents airflow. If the wall wasn't there. Okay. Don't have to overthink it too much. Cable. Yeah, so we're going to need to build a shitload of cable to wire it all in. Now the other thing is I should be able to batch write as well, right? Right, if you have a look here. Slot reader, that's what we're going to go, right? In variable slot. Actually, give me my screwdriver. 4, 6. Arc furnace. Import. Occupied. Oh, it's not. We're not even doing a compare. Ah. Well, we could do the same thing with this. We just go in for the furnace, the crunch furnace. Slot read, which is arc furnace import, so the in hole. And you can detect whether it's got an occupied stat, right? And in is slot reader, which is that. Out is the arc furnace. And activate. In fact, surely this is proof positive that what I'm saying works, because we're putting in 20 things, and this logic is telling it to cook all of them. If you had to somehow reset the activate function or the activate command, then I'd need some sort of proviso in here to command it to press the button 20 times. But this one system here, we've already proved empirically, is I can put a 20 stack bit of ore in the in slot. This will perpetually read it as occupied, and it's going to keep telling the button to go. It's the activate. Yeah, we're just going to do this exact same logic. Now, we will have to do it in duplicate because of how its slot reads. I mean, unless we batch read. No, it's batch writing. Can we batch read? Wait, that doesn't make sense. It's a batch. No. So it's not like solar panels because they're going to have separate, like, there's no guarantee that they're both going to have ice in them at any given time. There could be a scenario where one ends up with a 50 slot and the other ends up with 0. Yeah. They're okay. It doesn't matter. So essentially, we'd have to make a separate logic for both of them. But it's only a 2 memory block logic anyway, so it's no big deal. It's essentially one piece of wall space each. Now I'm curious if the logic gives off heat. Like, all these machines probably, like, that's the thing I can't figure out. Do these sorters give off heat? They should. If you really want to go all in on it as a developer in this game, if this machine's got a cable going into it, it's got a power source, not even this so much, but this. If this thing's splitting things up, it's doing work, it needs power to do it, there's mechanical movement, it should be giving off heat, even if it's a small amount. I mean, shit, even the cables potentially should, well, I guess they are insulated, but where's the heat gonna go, you know? Yeah, so I guess on the back of that, we want to keep as much heat generating components out of the system as we can. We need these in here because we need them all super cooled. That is just the rule. Okay, so if we've got our airlock back here, right, and we're going to put like a ladder or something like that, what we could potentially do is have walls down here with the logic on them. Now, even though it's only going to be a 2-block logic each with 4, I'm not confident we'll fit all 4 onto one wall panel. As compact as I'd like to be, I feel like maybe we'll have to set them onto 2 panels. So I think the next thing we do is actually build a ramp. As much as I'd like to, because I'm pretty sure we sealed this whole thing last time. Maybe we'll take this second chance as a blessing, and we'll actually do a lot of the interior work first, and we'll seal it up as a last ditch. Where do I put my cable? Oh yeah, we'll put that there because I tend to put my iPad in my backpack. Okay, so we're gonna have to build a, I mean, is it called a ramp? Stairs? Ramp? Stairs? Kit stairs. That sounds about right. 15 iron. Fuck me. Just gouging me. Okay. And I know we cooked up all that copper, but we're going to use it. Whew. That'll go in here. Actually, you know what? This is the perfect time to cook up some more cable.
Power low.
While we're waiting. Oh dear. Yeah, so look, I don't want to pat myself on the back too early because you guys are quite good at keeping me honest. And I mean, it's a bit late in the game for me to, you know, start pretending like, you know, I don't listen to what you guys say, because I do. I defer to the knowledge of the group, absolutely. So I'd be curious what you have to say around this. Let's print some more. But it feels like what I'm suggesting will work. Stairs. Yeah, it's sort of it's a ramp. It's not like it spirals or anything, I don't think, unless I want to build multiple staircases to make it spiral. But yeah, we need to lay this down so we can see what sort of space we've got to work with for the logic. We might even build the logic early so we can know how to wire the cable. Alright, stair placement. Here we go. So that's the one I'm familiar with. I can put a handrail on it. Rail left, rail right. Alright. The one issue I could see with the rail, as aesthetically pleasing as it could be, is that could interfere with my wall of logic. How are we going to do this? I guess if we just run the stairs all the way straight down and in, that would save me having to put like a floor or something like that. Yeah. It's going to let me place it through the walls as well, so let's do that. Yeah. That's what I want there. Okay. Oh shit, I should probably just leave my jetpack on while I'm in here. I can see myself panicking and just shitting the bed here. Okay. We can always pull this out and do the handrail thing. Because remember, we don't want to be using the jetpack down in this hole if we can help it, so... like, when it's all finished. Alright. Gotta be aware of this sort of shit. You can get glitched. I'm not 100% sure. I'll take suggestions around that on how we're going to deal with that. But a lot of that is kind of aesthetic, right? And so what I was thinking is I could put walls here, like put a wall section there and a wall section there, and put my logic on those. That way they're external to the system, they're in the vacuum, so if they are generating any sort of heat or anything like that, we're removing as much of that from the system as we possibly can. Where are my wall kits? How many is that? Iron wall, 4. I'll take that. How many of those have we got? Oh, and I'll take that. Iron window? No. I'm interested in your wall selection, sir. Right. I mean, will we really need that? We could probably just place the logic onto that wall naked, right? And realistically, you could fit 2 blocks here that you could still see. I mean, if we needed to, we could put some in behind the stairwell, but it's one of those things, the more that I can see, like, eventually one day we're going to blow up our circuit, right? We don't have fuses in it, we're using low power cable, I understand all this, and we're going to blow out, and what that does is it just randomly has a cable on the network blow. I think it's an ingenious game design decision, because then you need to go hunting for it and fix it. So until that stage, I'd like very much to be able to see as much cable as possible, so if we do have to triage it, it's not hidden behind walls. But I think we could probably fit the logic we need to do for each of the 2 furnaces on the left and right. There. No problem. Yeah. I think that's, yeah, that's probably the way to go. Anyway, like I said, sorry for the slight setback, team, but that's alright anyway. It enabled us to undo the situation with the bloody ladder bay, because I agree, they're horrible. If you ever watch me play Lulan and that, I get glitched on them all the time. It was horrible. And at least with this, we can come up with like an elegant solution to fit the logic in without having to put it inside the system, which is how I'd prefer to do it. So yeah, and again, as always, I like all the input and the thoughts around, like, say, the clock system. I am curious. I'm curious if we're going to need a clock. I can't think of anything, like, apart from the convenience of a clock. And potentially if we were doing something that needed to only take over a certain amount of time, like, I don't know, if we're heating a room that could explode. I don't know. I can't really think anecdotally. The only thing I can think of is like plants, maybe. Maybe we come up with a system where you turn on certain things during a certain part of the day-night cycle. I'm not sure. So I think, yeah, I think the clock is more of a luxury than anything. But it was cool to see everyone, like, I'm not the only person that's considered, how do you build a clock here? Because there is, in fact, no clock function. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to use the exact same logic system, just in duplicate, one for each furnace. But if I've overlooked something, let me know. But it's kind of hard to argue with the fact that we've done the exact same thing over there, just for hard metal, and it shouldn't be any difference at all. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I guess it depends. Well, no, it's not a compare situation, is it? I keep going back to compare because that was the original concept. It's not about comparing slots to each other. It's just about checking if the slot's activated, which we can do with the slot detector logic, whatever the fuck that's called. Anyway, team, thanks again for joining me. I might just leave it there for the time being, and I will catch you guys on the next one.